We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity for Legacy with Legacy Partners and E-VAs, Executive Virtual Assistant and Virtual Assistant. And so we're meeting with Lavina today and helping her get up and going. So there's base level training that individuals go through, Lavina, on how to get up and going to become an E-VA. That training, a lot of that training, ideally most of that training is going to be podcasts, things like that, where you're going to be watching videos and maybe reading reading or watching videos or studying websites or those type of things. And Elaine, you can jump in anytime you want and interrupt me and clarify things. One of the things, Elaine's done a great job on becoming certified and doing stuff. Now she's got more opportunity than she can keep up with. So you'll be assigned what's called a mentor, an ART mentor, ARRT mentor. And so that'll be Elaine for you in this. And so she'll be assisting you. Anything that you can take over for her, gives her greater capability to do other types of things. It's not the thing that's hardest about an E-VA, Executive Virtual Assistant. The hardest part about it is it's not a black and white. It's not like you're doing all the same things every single day. It's not like working at the RV factory. It's not like working at most companies where it's your own company. And so you get to go ahead and determine when you work, how you work, who you work with, how many hours you want to work, all that kind of stuff. You get to decide that. You get to decide kind of where you want to have your area of expertise. And so some E-VAs have expertise in one area, some have expertise in another area. Most, but not all, but most E-VAs, when they finish up the certification, and there's potential you can do billable work before you're finished with all the certification hours and stuff. So there might be things that Elaine might be able to give you that might be billable work. And so that's really up to you and her to kind of decide and go through. But you want to get the training, you want to have the training down. The training is not like anything you've ever been through before. And so it's not like normal school where you have, like in math, you learn addition and then subtraction and then multiplication and then division. The E-VA training is you learn this, you learn this, you learn this, you learn this, and then you kind of piece it together. And so that's where it gets a little bit tough. I'll take a quick look at your personality here, and that will help you to kind of, that'll help you to go ahead and me to help you to better understand kind of your personality. So you have a really cool personality. And so you've got part of your personality is going to be like you're an analytic or you're an amiable, expressive personality. So that personality, that's going to be the amiable, expressive personality. So that type of thing, you're going to have skills where you like people, you're good with people, you're funny, outgoing. And so talking with people, this type of personality, you'll do well in. A lot of times, Lavina, how comfortable are you over in talking on the phone?
I'm good with that.
Okay. And so there's a lot of billable work in talking on the phone. And so talking on the phone, so there's a whole bunch of different types of phone calls that can be made. And so the more experienced E-VAs, like Ginger Ann and Elise, Ginger Ann's been an E-VA for 14 years. She has 5 children, and another one on the way. She's traveled. She and her husband have been married 14 years, and they've lived in, 8 different places. And so what's nice about an E-VA, as long as you got access to the internet, and a phone, you can work from anywhere you want to work from. So you'll be connecting into Ginger Ann and Elise. And so any work that you can take away from the E-VAs is a good thing. So this will serve you well people will like you. You like people, you're fun and outgoing. So that will serve you really well. In the pain quadrant test, you test out as a driver analytic. And so 75% of women will test out as an amiable, expressive personality. So when you're this personality, women are going to tend to like you because you're nice and kind and funny and outgoing. So women are going to like you. This personality here, the driver analytic, 75% of men will test out here. And so men in business, they often don't like small talk, just get down to business. What we need to do, like they task oriented. So they'll like working with you too, because you get down to business, so you have a unique personality, and each of these used in proper terms will go ahead in proper ways will help you. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up. If you're frustrated, it's okay. You'll be taught how to deal with frustration. Frustration's not bad. Like there's three elements to frustration: how hard we work, how much we care, and our level of expectation. One of the things that you'll do is you can learn things, like Elaine has like superhuman skills to take notes. So she's really good at taking notes in everything that she's trained in. And then she's really good where she doesn't like making mistakes. It irritates her, but it doesn't destroy her. She's like, when she's asked to do something, she'll get as much information as she can and do the best that she can. And when she makes mistakes, it's not the end of the world. Like nobody's going to die. It's like, it's okay. So a lot of times people like the amiable analytic personality, the amiable doesn't want to let people down. So there's a part of you that doesn't want to let people down. If you make a mistake, we've all made mistakes. The more you're learning and doing new things, the more mistakes you're going to make. It's not that big a deal. It's fine. The analytic likes to do things really, really well. And, when you're learning new things, doing new things, you're just going to make mistakes. So she doesn't like making mistakes, but she's not afraid of them. It doesn't hold her back from taking action. So sometimes people have a fear. I don't know what I'm doing. Just do something. Like it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. And so you can learn. Elaine will be a great mentor. Ginger Ann, she has phenomenal customer service skills, a lot of years of experience in all the systems that we use. And Elise, same type of thing. Like she's really good with customer service. Those three ladies will be able to help you immensely. Often, once somebody kind of graduates with their first level of EVA training, once they graduate from that, then they'll often go ahead and work for my company. They can work for a number of different companies. But my company is Synergy Solutions. And so what we do is we go ahead and a lot of our clients will call us business coaches, executive coaches, which is fine, but we're really architects or engineers. Oh, before I transition, I tend to talk really fast and can be overwhelming. Just stop me. It's not rude to stop me. Mark, I have a question. I'm not sure about that. So one of the things that I love about Elaine is that she's not afraid to do things. If she tries to gather up everything she can do and do it, comes back and says, this is what I've done. But she also is not afraid to say, Mark, like I'm a 3-year-old boy, right? And so I just have a lot of questions. And so sometimes, moms will take their 3-year-old sons and hold their cheeks and just go, what do you want? So sometimes Elaine does that figuratively. Mark, slow down. I need to have this information. So she has a real good sense. Like she's a lot of times with me, people don't know what they're doing and it's okay. But there are sometimes you just have to have something. So she's not afraid to say, Mark, I need 5 minutes of your time. She and I meet every morning at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So 5 days a week. So it would probably be good if you're able to jump on any of those calls. If you're able to jump on any of those calls, that would help you a lot, because then you'd see me coaching her, mentoring her, if you're stuck on anything, any of that type of thing.
What time did you say those are?
7 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay.
And so we do that 6 days a week. And then Saturday, we meet at 7 o'clock on the Zoom call. So this same Zoom call, you just jump on the Zoom call, and we meet anywhere from a half an hour to an hour, depending on how much she has to go over and how much I have to go over. So that would help. Are you able to take notes now?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. So whenever you're reading, going through a podcast, reading a white paper, studying, studying a website, any of that stuff, anytime you're learning, you want to do something that's called manage up and out. And so what you would do is communicate to probably Elaine and myself, and at the top of your email, so you'll notice I'm a big email guy, like huge email guy. Everything is email. I think email is the greatest invention known to man. So that's just me. And so I have rules for how I use it. Like the end of the day, I won't finish up until all my emails are finished. So end of the day, make sure everything's cleaned out. And then the next morning I check and go through and make sure everything's done. So I'm very responsive on email. And so the thing that I love about email is if somebody has a question on email, then I can get to it when I can get to it. And I'll get to it pretty fast, typically that day for sure. And then they can respond to me. Now it's more than just that. A lot of our communication, a lot of an EVA, it's all about communication. And that's both verbally speaking, and then it's also writing. And so your writing skills and your verbal communication skills are going to jump up. I mean, you're just going to get really, really good at writing, typing fast, and communicating. So after anything you learn, there's three things that you want to. So first, you put the name of the white paper, the training, or the URL. Do you know what a URL is?
No.
So that's like if you type in a website like Synergy Solutions, or you type in anything in the website, it's up in the browser, up here at the top. Oh, that's the URL at the very top of the screen. You follow?
I haven't found it yet.
So if you look at the screen, it's going to be up at the top.
Yeah.
So here's a URL. Everything has a URL. So the URL is like the address. It's like the address that, in the internet.
The link?
Yeah, the link. Yep. That's exactly what it is. So that URL, that link, if you put it in the top of the email, then we know what you're looking at. If we know what you're looking at, then we can go ahead and go to it very quickly. And so you put that at the top, the name, the URL of what you're going through training, for example. And then you go ahead and say, what did I learn? So you type out, what did I learn? I like to put that in bold and underline so it's clear. So number one is, what did I learn? And then type out what you learned. If you didn't learn anything, say, I learned nothing. Like, you're not, especially with me and really with everybody. It's a culture where nobody goes ahead and takes anything personal. So it's kind of a very direct type of culture. You don't want to like with Elise, somebody asked Elise, what's your secret in working with Mark Boersma? She said, never take anything personal. Like if he's saying something, if it's a little harsh, or he's not upset with you. He might be upset or frustrated about the situation, which in the end he's responsible for. And so I'm not upset with you. So don't take anything personal and just be very, very direct. That will help you a lot. And then you say, what did I learn? Number one. Number two is what action am I going to take from what I learned? So action to take. And again, I would put that in bold and underline. Your listening skills are going to be also accelerate a lot. So a lot of times people think they're good listeners, but you will make dimensional jumps. Like you will learn things in listening, not only listening to the words, but the nuances and what's said and the personality and what the client means. Like everything's going to jump for you a lot. So what action am I going to take? And again, if you don't know, you just say, I don't know. Like you can't do a manage up and out wrong unless you don't do it. That's wrong. But if you do something, you say anything, it's okay. And then the third thing is, what do you think you need to learn next? Which could be what you thought of the video or you thought of the podcast. What we're trying to do is we got to get inside your head. We've got to get how you're thinking. And a lot of times people are afraid of that. Like they just are. So they're afraid to communicate. And it's like, we have to know what because we're not there, right? We're not working side by side. So you're not having a desk next to me. So I can't really see what you're doing or what you're thinking. So I can't really see it. And so that's the way we communicate. That's the way we connect with one another is through, email. And so a lot of times, especially in Amish, they don't know how to put what they're thinking into words. So they're thinking something, but they don't know, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You can just say that too. You can say, I don't know how to put what I'm saying into words. And then you just try to do the best you can or whatever. So, especially initially, don't worry about doing something right. Just do something. So I have a pretty strange sense of humor. And if you have a strange sense of humor too, you will get along just fine. Like it's okay. Just have fun with what you're doing. And so there's going to be, I think we want to get it into a linear, like when you get into, like, this is the 4th generation or 5th generation of EVA training. So we've revamped the whole thing like 5 times over the last 15 years. And so we've kind of thrown out all the past training and now we're starting new with brand new stuff. So some stuff will be amazing and other stuff maybe not so amazing. And so for the next person that's coming through, the next EVA that's coming through the certification, we want to make it better than what it was for you. So if we don't know what's good and what's not good, if we don't know what's good and what's not good, then we can't improve it. So there's things, if you don't like something, you just say, hey, I don't like it. Seriously. Like it's the funniest thing with me, especially if you say, Mark, I think you're a goofball. Or Mark, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Just try that one just to see what happens. It's kind of cool to see. I'm serious. Like it's cool to see what happens because my response will make you laugh. Anyways, so
definitely won't be the typical person's response. I can assure you that.
And so my company, what I do is, so we're executive coaches, business coaches. So what we do is that's what people think, but we're really not. We're really architects or engineers. So we're architects and engineers. And so what we do is we design a business operating system. So it's the engine that runs our business. We earn the money we earn, work the hours we work, have the stress, life balance we do or don't have because of that engine. Make sense?
Kind of.
Okay. So it's like a car, so it's like a car. It has an engine. That engine was designed to go ahead and go a certain speed. It will not go beyond that speed. Same thing with a business. So what we do is most business owners don't own a company, they own a job. So what we do is we help business owners learn how to build systems to get their business to run without them. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There's 3 elements to that business. So there's the DNA for people, which is the personality masteries. It's the ability to identify somebody's personality in 17 seconds. Once you know their personality, you know their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off, if they're married, who they're married to, conflict marriage. You know more about that person in 17 seconds than they know about themselves, seriously. So you're going to learn how to do that too. Like you will just be able to visually, you and your husband, it'll be so cute. You guys will go out to eat and you can look at somebody across the room, and based on their body language, you can tell their personality and you'll know so much about them. So it's really helpful. It's fun because it helps to explain human beings and why they do what they do. It's also great for a marriage too. So that's the DNA for people. DNA for business is the 530 grid. I'll explain that in just a second. And then DNA for life is natural laws. The natural laws are laws that govern the universe, like the law of gravity. So the law of gravity is, you jump out of an airplane, you're going to fall. You're going to die. Unless you have the law of the parachute, which helps to mitigate the other laws so you don't die. You're still going to drop, but you're not going. So there's over 500 of these natural laws. This is the hardest thing to teach people because there's over 500. The E-VAs, what they do is in the 530 grid, there's 5 shapes, like in a funnel. So there's 5 of these in a funnel. And so area 1 is marketing. How do you generate more and better leads? Area 2 is pre-sales. Once you get a lead, what do you do with it? So every business, doesn't matter what it is. It could be construction, computer, could be concrete. It could be, lawn mowing. Any business that is, there's always these 5 areas. So area 1 is how do you generate more and better leads? E-VAs, you'll learn how to generate leads for business. So some of your clients will need help in generating leads. Pre-sales is once you get a lead, what do you do with that lead? So you have somebody, that you go ahead and say, okay, here's a lead. Now, what do I do with that lead? And then area 3 is the ability to close that sale. And then area 4 is servicing. Once you get somebody as a client, what do we say to them? What do we do to them? And then area 5 is client relationships for life. So we're only as strong as our weakest link. If a business, let's say, is doing $1 million in business and it wants to get to, let's say, 2.5 million, if they could have, 4 out of these 5 pipes already at 2.5 million, but if one pipe is only at $1 million, they're only going to do $1 million. We're only as strong as our smallest pipe, like a pipeline, like a water pipe. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is what's the 530 grid. So you have the 5 areas, and then you have 6 levels of proficiency. This is, so box 1, and again, this is a lot, okay? So one of the websites that Elaine well, you can just write it down if you want. So clarity DNA. So clarity, the period. So clarity, CLARITY .dna4success.com. So clarity.dna4success.com. That's the website that you'll pretty much be able to go to and find most everything. That's one of the websites. The other one is voicesofintegrity.com. So voicesofintegrity.com. That's the other one. So those two websites, will go ahead and pretty much be everything. With the engineered clarity, this is where a lot of the training is going to be. So there's different pieces of it that go through and help you in being able to learn how, like you've got to see the big picture. And so the first thing a business needs to do is learn how to go ahead and generate leads. To do that, you need to know what type of leads a business wants and how to communicate that. So you might be, as an EVA, you might be learning how to write marketing copy or email copy or something like that. So some type of, so you're sending a message, so you identify the targets and then send a message, and then you're tracking leads and then asking questions. So any business owner, we can work with any business owner anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter what business they are, doesn't matter how big or small they are. So one of the things that you might be doing is you might be calling businesses and asking for their biggest challenge. Or if you run into any business, you talk to any business owner and say, I'm just curious. And you can say, I'm, starting my own EVA company, or I own my own EVA company, and I'd like to ask, businesses what their
Hey,
biggest
Mark,
challenge is. Yeah.
I'm going to be heading out here shortly. Anytime now.
Yep. I think we're just about finished with this one. So thank you. And so one of the things, one of the things is asking people their biggest challenge. So you'll be some training on how to do that. It's very easy. You just ask people their biggest challenge and go, that's interesting. Tell me more. And then what you'll do is, once you do that, Elaine will show you how to use you'll get training on a computer system on how to enter in. It's called a database. So you enter in all your information into a computer system. That way, when Elaine talks to him, or I talk to him, or Ginger Ann, or anybody talks to him, we have that information. So, like always, Lavina, after you're done talking to me, you're probably more confused than before you talk to me. This is normal. This is not unusual. This is why people like talking to Elaine and Ginger Ann and Elise, because they're going to be more concrete. I tend to be more of the big picture. Here's kind of where it is. And so Elaine will go ahead and walk you through some of the specifics. And so if you just stick with it, you'll go ahead and learn something, and then it'll all make sense. And then you'll become confused again. And then you'll learn something and make sense, and then you'll be confused. You'll be like me in my world. I'm in a perpetual state of confusion, and it's okay.
So I'm not sure about the manage up and out thing. I don't know what that is, or
Sure. So let's go ahead and say that you went ahead and went into this website, the clarity.dnaforsuccess.com. So you would go ahead and just go here and you just read the first page. Simple. And you just go, you could just say, what did I learn? And then, so you could say, well, it's something about gaining clarity in all areas of life, people, business, life. What action am I going to take with this? I have no idea. Well, what do I want to learn next? I don't know, I guess more about engineer clarity. So you say, learn more. Then what you do is you go in here and you read this page, and you could do the same thing. What did I learn from this? What action am I going to take from this? And what do I need to learn next? I would go ahead, and you could go into people, you could go into life, but I would go into business. And then what you would do is then you would go in here. Once you hit this, you're going to have 3 videos here that are shorter videos. And so what you would do is you'd copy the URL up here, and you'd say, this is what I learned. So honestly, what I'm looking for in an EVA, the number one thing that I'm looking for in an EVA is their ability to be consistent. If somebody's consistent, then they'll be successful as an EVA. So, getting a disciplined time where you're working on a daily basis for an hour, whatever you're working on the training, if you do the same time, same day, every day, that's going to be best for you. When I start seeing your manage up and out, you can say that I spent an hour, Elaine might work with you on how do you do your daily report. The key is for us to get where we're communicating back and forth. And so you would then go ahead, and when you go through here, you would go ahead and read this, and then you would go ahead and watch these videos, and then you'd communicate what you see. And so that shows us, like, how much are you picking up? And if you're not picking up anything, it's okay. If you say, I don't understand any of this, then we know where you're at, and we will, Elaine or myself or Ginger Ann, or at least somebody will slide in and explain, connect the dots for you to say, this is what the context is. So
Okay.
the first, probably 2 to 4 weeks, you're just going to be potentially you're going to be in a perpetual state of frustration. You're just going to be like, probably feel like giving up. You're probably going to say, this is stupid. I don't understand this. I don't get this. Don't quit. Don't get discouraged. You'll be fine. One day, 2 weeks, a month into it, at some point, it's all going to click for you. You're going to say, oh, this makes all the sense in the world. But it's going to take a little while because you've probably never been exposed to anything like this. The content in here is all going to be new to you. The way to learn is all going to be new to you. It's all going to be totally new to you. Everything's new to you. But you'll do great. Elaine was in the same situation. Ginger Ann was in the same situation. And Elise has been in the same situation. All of them have been through it. And so they'll all relate to you. And you can call them at any time and connect with them, and they'll assist you. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask if this helps because it probably doesn't. But I think when you get into it and you start emailing, if you can email every day, at least once a day, if you can email every day, once the emails start to flow, then you'll email, and then Elaine or I or both of us will get back to you, and we'll give you a little bit more, and then you'll email, we'll get back to you. And so you'll start to pick up more and more stuff. You'll learn a lot more than you realize you do. Make sense?
So in the email that you sent me earlier, did you have links there that I needed to go on to?
I don't honestly remember. I might have. Usually I do have links. But if there wasn't links, you can start off with, the clarity.dna for success. And you can start off with the voices of integrity. On the voices of integrity, what you would do is you would go to podcast on the top. So voicesofintegrity.com, and then go to podcasts. And then here are different podcasts, a whole bunch of different topics. Initially, you can just wander around. So you might say, I spend an hour wandering around voices of integrity. So a lot of the work for an EVA is calling people, so maybe, podcasts for marriages. You might go in and look at one of the podcasts for marriages or two and just say, was it beneficial? Did it help you? Those type of things. So this is what a lot of what we do, a lot of what Life Masteries does is going and helping people to learn to think differently. So when people ask me, what do I do for a living? I never know exactly what to say, but I'm tempted to say, and sometimes I do, I'm a mental chiropractor. So what I do is I help people to learn to think differently. So if somebody's marriage is falling apart, the way to fix that marriage is to help the husband and the wife to think differently. If a business owner doesn't have any time, the way to solve that is to help them think differently. So any problem that somebody has, any challenge that somebody has, it's teaching them to learn to think differently. It's not that they're thinking bad. It's just there's better ways to think. And that's really what we do. And so when you start seeing these different things, so a lot of the calls that you would make to people is getting people to either participate in some of these podcasts, like listening to them, or would you think of them, or would you like to be a guest on it, or introducing them to the concept. So a lot of this is, the first week or two, just have fun and just explore, like just be curious and just explore different things, and tell us when you're exploring different things, what you're exploring and what you're seeing. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let me wrap up this. you're listening to the rebroadcast, any questions, connect with the individual invited you, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300 outside the US 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.